Hello, welcome back again. This is Brian with a Y. Hey, today we're going to draw Bambi, a fantastic animated film that shows the story of Bambi and his adaptation to living in the forest. You know, the movie was actually created in 1942 based on a novel by Felix Salten. And, you know, a lot of people think that Disney wrote it. He didn't. He just made the movie from the novel. But anyhow, with Bambi, we're going to draw the young Bambi, the little kid. And we're going to start off again, just like with everything else, with a circle. I would say, you know, anywhere between 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. You want to get to lay that circle down. Does not have to be perfect. Somewhere just like that. Now what I'm using today is a Prismacolor black coal erase. It actually, if you draw lightly, you can actually erase it pretty clean, and it even comes with an eraser. That way you don't have to change between the blue colored pencil and the actual graphite pencil. But we started off with a circle. We're going to divide it like a pizza pie. I put a tick mark here to here, and we're going to just connect this line right like this. Just stiffen your arm and draw that straight line going through there. And then we're going to divide it again right over here. Again, just put those tick marks in there so you got something to shoot for. And there we got a pizza with 4 slices. This is the start of the foundation for Bambi, and I want to make sure that you understand that this is important. And in order to actually get everything to fall in line, you have to actually follow the foundation lines and place things in the general area. You can always make adjustments later when you put down the final lines. So we got the pizza slices here. Now we want to make an arc, like I call it a moon shape. And what we want to do is we want to start off in this area right here, and we're going to come down low and then come all the way across about like that. That arc right there. So you see the moon shape right here. And now this is going to help with the placement of the eye. Okay? And in order to get the eye right, we need these guidelines to help place it. And we're going to go ahead and put the eye, it's kind of like an almond shape. I want to say it comes in this area right in here. You can start off with a circle if you want. And it's going to be based right in that area, right about approximately past this line, and a little bit below the little moon shape. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and kind of come around and make that almond shape. Kind of like that. Now we want to go ahead and get his nose. His nose is going to be over here, right kind of inside the line, the outside point of the circle. Right here's the outside point, I call it. See, it comes down here. And we want to go ahead and put his nose, which is going to be like an L shape, that comes down about right here and then comes outward like that. See the little L? Right there, the little L shape right there. You can see the placement of it. Comes through the little moon shape, kind of inside the line here of the circle. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and put his cheekbone over here, and it kind of intersects his eye right here. So what we want to do is kind of go like this. See the cheekbone right there, and then it kind of comes around and makes kind of a J. It looks like a J, kind of a backwards J right here. But it kind of intersects his eye up here, comes down. This is going to be his dimple, and this is going to be his cheekbone right up in this area right up here. And in order for this to make sense, we're going to come back over here to his nose line right here, that L shape, and we're going to go ahead and kind of start drawing straight down and kind of arcing that a little bit. And we're going to meet up with this dimple by making an arc shape that comes down and around like this. There you go, see that? So that's kind of the start of his nose right there. Now we're going to come back and we're going to go look at this eye right here, and we're going to make sure the inside, his iris and his pupil, are going to be placed. And in order to do that, we got to draw a circle. Now the circle is going to come somewhere in this area right here. And you can imagine the circle comes outside of this area right in here. But I'm not going to draw this area. I want to get the drawing of his eye on the inside, so that's where that part of the circle is that I want. And right inside that, I am going to go ahead and draw another one that's kind of perpendicular to that first one I drew. In other words, it's the same distance right here all the way down. Okay, and remember, this is the outside of his eye. We want to put that right there too. And we're going to put a circle right here to show the sparkle in his eye right there. We'll come back and fill that all in later. Now, next what we want to do is we want to go ahead and put in his eyelashes. Now his eyelashes are going to start right about here and then come around. This is basically on that almond shape, and we're going to go ahead and kind of thicken it up by going over the line a few times. And thicken that line up right in there. As you can see, I'm thickening that line up. And he actually does have a few eyelashes that come out, so we'll put that there. And next, we want to put an eyelid. His eyelid kind of comes up like this, and then again follows the contour of the eye right here. All right, and then it comes in close, about right like that. So you've got something that looks similar to that line right there. Okay. We can come back in and fiddle with his eyelashes and make him cuter later on. But I wanted to give you the basic structure of what's going on here and where these fall into place. Now with that done, we're going to go ahead and draw in his eyebrow. Now his eyebrow is kind of like, I want to describe it as a McDonald's arches. Kind of arcs up in this area right here. Let's see if I can get this right. But his eyebrow is going to be like in this area right here, so we want to sketch that in right there. Now this is important that you follow along here and make sure that they fall in these areas right here so his face actually looks like a deer. Now remember, this movie was made in 1942 based on a novel by Felix Salten. And what's funny about it is that there was a child actor, Donnie Dunnigan, who was a child actor at the time, and he did Bambi's voice. And later on, he went in the Marines, and he didn't want anyone to know that he did the voice of Bambi. He didn't want to be embarrassed because he was in the Marines, you know, macho stuff, and he kept it a secret for a long time. He didn't reveal it until later on in life, but it's really funny. And I can understand that, me being, you know, retired Air Force, that, you know, hey, you got to keep up an image. You can't go around saying, hey, I'm Bambi. It was also noted that in order to create this movie, Disney needed a lot of material to study from. So the LA Zoo actually loaned them 2 deer and some woodland creatures like rabbits so that they could study them for a while and draw from them and understand their movement and everything like that. And what's nice about it is that they actually got the characteristics of a deer. A deer is hard to draw. You know, between a horse and a deer, they're very difficult. And you're trying to capture the actual essence of the animal is very difficult. And it took over 1 million drawings to make this animation. Can you imagine? I'm just drawing one. You know, and 1 million? Wow. That's astonishing. Back then, it was revolutionary to see an animation in a full-featured film. But anyhow, back to the drawing here. We want to make sure that everything's falling in these areas. And what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and finish his muzzle down here, put his nose in, and then his mouth. So let's start off here with his nose. Now his nose is actually going to go ahead and it's going to be squared off about in this area right here. And so what we're going to do is make an arc right here and kind of square it off. And what I mean by that is, like, we're going to actually draw something like this little rectangle. So that's kind of, but there's like an arc right here. I want to arc that a little bit to show the bridge of his nose. And then we're going to come across like this. And so that's kind of what we're drawing there. Now below this, we're going to make another line, another, I want a geometric shape, I should say. It's kind of like a line and then a little arc right like that. So what I want to do is come around and make this little arc like that. And then on the side of his nose, I'm going to go ahead and make a rectangle, kind of like that. So his nose is going to be made up of 3 geometric shapes that are similar to that. And so what I'll do is I'll come up here and kind of put that in right there. And then what we'll do, this is to help give the form of the nose. We'll come back in and kind of shade this in a little bit, and it'll all come together. But in the meantime, let's continue on, because we may modify this a little bit. And what we want to do is do the bottom part of his mouth. And in order to do that, we want to meet up with his dimple right here. And I would say about the end of his nose, we'll just draw a tick mark right about here. About like that. Okay? And that tick mark has got to meet up with a little arc that's going to end up right about here. We want to put an arc, kind of like that, a slight line. You see where it lines up, the dimple, kind of at the end of the dimple, about halfway right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually kind of make this meet up with that. And what I kind of think of when I draw this is kind of like a question mark. But you see the question mark right there? Zoop. If you put a little little dot there, it would be a question mark. But that's the bottom part of his mouth. Now what we want to do next is draw the inside. So I want to put a little tick mark there. That's going to be the start of his lip. And we want to join it up into the corner there where his other mouth is. And what we want to do is bring this straight down and then follow the lip line right there. And you can see that this is his lip, and it just follows the contour of the other one. And we want to put a little arc right here to show the inside of his mouth. About right like that. And then he got his tongue. So that would be Bambi's mouth. Now what we want to do is go ahead and connect the jaw, which is going to go to the outside of the circle here. So with this little arc, we're going to come out a little bit and then come back up and then meet up somewhere in this area right there. And that would be the bottom part of his jaw. So there we've got his mouth put together. Now let's continue on. Oh, another thing. Let me talk about the movie a little bit. If you haven't seen it, you got to go see it. You know, you can always rent it, or it's on DVD, or probably on Disney Plus as well. Bambi's mother was a strong character in the feature animation, and she prepared Bambi for life in the forest. You know, the learning point behind it was the death of her was the central scene of the entire movie, you know, and it's very dramatic, but it is a life learning principle. The strength of it, the characters of it, the kindness, the cuteness of everything is amazing. But what's ironic is that this was actually out during World War II, and the movie and the novel were actually banned in Germany because of World War II. And it's just, you know, ironic that, you know, the animators and the workers that created the groundbreaking movie that worked on Bambi, they would be driven towards the war effort later on in Disney Studios to help with the communication efforts and everything like that for the U.S. But if you haven't seen it, you've got to go see it. It's really a heartfelt movie that it will really tag your emotions. All right, let's continue on here. Okay, now what I want to do next is I want to go ahead. Now his forehead, as you see, it comes in here, and then I want it to come back out over to the circle here, and kind of join up right about in this area right here. See that line right there? And then down to his nose. And as you can see, the circle kind of came outside here, but we want to draw this little S line right here on the inside just a little bit. Now that's going to help us place his ear. If you come about the middle of his nose and come up, you can put a tick mark right here, and you can go ahead and start off with I would say a little bit of an arc right here. And then what we want to do is come up to about here, and we want to make this, I would say, a little bit bigger than his muzzle. So we want to come up to about that area right there for the length of his ear. And we want to come down and arc this, and all right, welcome back. Had a little bit of video technician problem, but hey, we're back. We're going to continue on. We started here with the ear, and what I want to do is do this arc right here and come down with a straight line that's going to end approximately to the line right here, just like that. See that line right there? Just like that. Now let's go on and draw the other ear, which is approximately going to start right about here. And then what we're going to do is draw kind of like an S shape, and it's going to end up to about right here, right above it, just a little bit over maybe. And it's going to look like this. Kind of an S shape like that. That line right there. Now we want to go ahead and draw in the other part of his ear, which is going to be like an arc right here, and it's going to come out. Let's come out a little bit more, maybe right about here, and then come in like an S right here, and then come out maybe like that. And then the other part is going to actually come out right about here, and then this part up of his ear up here is going to come down and arc in about like that. And then you got the inside of his ear right there. Now what we want to do is kind of give him some, I would say, baby hair that comes down alongside here. And you know, juveniles have this little cute little hair that kind of is all over the place, but makes them look a little even cuter, you know. So they have that thing going right there. And his eyelashes, I want to make note that his eyelashes go across here, and we kind of want to put a little bit of indication that his other eye's over there. And also with his eyebrow, we can go ahead and make a line to that nature right there. Now let's get back to his muzzle area right here, and what we want to do is kind of like, now we want to make some nice dark lines for his nose. He's got this cute little nose, and we can fill in those geometric shapes that I drew earlier right here. And that'll give the indication of his nose right there. And we can go ahead and shade this in lightly, you know, to show the inside of his mouth. These pencils make nice nice gradations in the shading that you make. I like that. All right, now his bridge of his nose right here is going to have a couple lines that go across, and that indicates the bridge of his nose. And you know, he's kind of got this line that comes up, and let's give it a little indication of the shape of his head right here. Right there. And he's also got this little mask that kind of comes down. and we want to show that. And in order to show that, we're going to go like this a little bit, kind of put that line there, and there's a kind of an indication of that line over here. Now, let's fill in that eye and see what happens. His eye over here is going to be very dark. So let's start filling this line in. Remember that little circle right there to give the little reflection in his eye. So let's go ahead and darken this up. You may hear my dog barking in the background because right now I think we're having a little bit of a rain shower, and she kind of gets combobulated when it's raining out. And we want to darken this line right here and come around the outside of the eye. Remember that cheek right here? Kind of brings it all together. And we can come back in and mess with all the lines and darken up what you want. Now, Bambi has different variations. You know, you can leave it just like this, or you can go back in, you know, and add a few things here and there. Actually, I think there's a version that has him with a line that comes across his forehead here in that manner. But you can go ahead and kind of like shade some of this in if you wanted to. And get an idea that this version here shows a little bit more detail in giving the shaded version here. You know, you can go on and do all kinds of crazy things with this, but whatever you feel you want to do to make your Bambi look as cute as you can possibly make it. Actually, there's kind of like some brims up in his ears that kind of give an indication that there's some darker hair up in this area. And you know, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can go ahead and kind of follow your lines that you put in there. Give a better indication of where things are. Like to darken up some of these lines. And there you go, you got Bambi right there. And you can even continue on, you know, if you actually wanted to draw in the rest of Bambi. Like his neckline would start somewhere in this vicinity right there. And then you can continue down. You know, and you can add the legs. He's got very, very long legs that come down. I'm just kind of sketching them in really, really briefly, just briefly. And but they would elongate down further, you know, on the back side of him. Hello, I'm back. I still have some video glitches and everything like that, but I wanted to show you how Bambi's body kind of structure is, and a little tail back there. I just sketched some things in there, you know, just to show you, give you an idea. And his legs are long, but that's basically it. And you could go back in and erase some lines with this if you wanted to help clean it up, or adjust your lines. You know, you can like come back in and erase, and then you can come back in and adjust some of your lines if you wanted to, just like that. That's how simple it is. And I started signing my name before the video went off, but I wanted to go ahead and show you all that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And take some time. If you become frustrated, just start over, take a deep breath, take a break, and come back and, you know, work on it later. Until then, enjoy. Take care.